Hi, this is Jeffrey at Sophia Tremolos here in the Sophia Hills in Hollywood, California. Today we're introducing or reintroducing our Sophia nut. It's a brand new version of the R3 nut with a removable brass or stainless steel nut area in 3 different radiuses, 12, 16, and 20. This can be bolted in from the bottom, it can be bolted in from the top. These are individual locks. And for luthiers or those guys who might have extra room, you can use our available shim, so the thing is height adjustable. Pretty cool. It's a string tree as well, and for headless players and whatnot, you can string it through this way. It strings either way. So we're going to take it and put it on this other guitar we have here, take off this vintage nut. They're all the same spec. It's a drop-in fit. We expect it just to go on or restring the guitar, and we'll be back with you in a second. So I'm going to take off this old nut. This is a traditional through the neck design, and there's 2 button head screws here that attach here. I probably have to use our own because this is metric, this is probably American. They should be exactly the same size, so I'm now going to disassemble it and replace this nut with this nut. One last thing, on this particular install, this is a drop-in fit for the original that was on this guitar. For luthiers or be more adventuresome do-it-yourselfers, you can add these underneath it so that the height adjustment screws here have something to be supported by rather than digging into the wood. It takes an extra 20 thousandths to do it, but we provide them with every one for those who would benefit from using it. Thanks again. See you in a minute. This is kind of a tip or a trick for reestablishing initial tuning. The thumb wheel is for globally tuning the guitar back to where initial position is. If initial position is out of whack or out of adjustment, you have to readjust it for whatever reasons. And the simple technique that I'm recommending is to move the bass plate back to its position 90 degrees to the bass plate, to the riser post, and ensure that it's making contact there. You can actually, if you're very sensitive, you can kind of feel it. And if from that point on, you're going to use the macro tuners to retune the guitar to where it's supposed to be while you're manually holding this bass plate in position. So I finished retuning these macro tuners manually with the bass plate in its desired position. It still is a little flat, so it means the springs on the back here have to be readjusted so this comes up. We can check our progress on that. because it should, when it's pulling it enough, bring it to pitch that we just set up. So this is where we want to be. And this is where we are now. It's a little flat. So again, add some tension to the springs with the spring claw. And this is probably set up because I'm using a different brand of strings here, and they can take a slightly different setup. And there it is at G. If I let go, it's still a little flat. Now we're getting somewhere. So that's coming back very solid from drops and solid from each direction, which means we have it dialed in so that the springs and the strings are correct for the pre-tension of the dual stabilizers. We have a setup completed. So I reestablished or corrected an initial setup that had been all gone out of adjustment. So now regular influences on this guitar can be addressed simply by the thumb wheel. So if you come up to your guitar, it's a 4 or 5 cents flat. Instead of going through this, you flip it over, take the tension out of the springs as much as possible, and just turn the thumb wheel a third of a turn. Come back, you'll see that you're very close to tuning, and any minor adjustments could be had here. And so your tuning is less than a minute in many cases. Thanks for tuning in. This is great to bring you yet another one of our ideas, including our Sophia nut, fitting original vintage specs in an R3, height adjustable for luthiers or experimenters, brass or stainless steel nut, R12, R16, or R20. Thanks for tuning in.